I hope it'll be like 45 minutes, and then we have time for fucking around and discussing. Yeah. Oh, actually, 5% with speaker notes on this computer that I can also be the timer. All right, are we pretty much ready? All right, seems like we're ready. Hello, I'm Toby, here from the Symbolic Exchange Commission. Thank you for having me back at Refactor Camp once again. I was at last year's in Austin as well. And last year, you may remember my talk, A New Era of Trust, in which I discussed the idea of aesthetics as a proof of work, stealing the idea of proof of work from blockchain and showing how material provenance validates epistemology. And I showed how that relates to medieval European fashion, and I related it to brands and showed how the falling cost of aesthetic production disrupts trust in society. Well, look what you've gone and done with that information. You got brands here, religions that are AI religions, neo-Baroque vaporwave alt-right outlets. Y'all have just shown no restraint. You went and applied the whole damn thesis to reality itself. So now you're trying to build a reality or invest in one. I've actually been doing this thing called Cult Design Workshop for a few years since I got meaning pilled by David Chapman. But it's recently become very popular to talk about brands and cults and meaning and so on. Shit, we even got a whole conference to talk about it. Cults are such a popular concept. The alt-right is considered a cult, or the left is considered a cult. Incels are a cult. Regular old sex cults, also cults. Rationalists are a cult. Brands are cults. Okay, wait a minute. Brands as cults. Let's actually think about that for a minute. Are brands and cults the same thing? What is in a brand? What is a brand? Or what is a lifestyle brand, in fact? At this time, I would like you to take your piece of paper and fold it in half. Whichever way is easiest for you to write on. Now, you have 2 minutes to write down your own answer to what is a lifestyle brand, starting now. No looking it up. "30 seconds remain." Beep, beep. All right, great, we're done. Pick up your pens. So now I'm just gonna call in a few people and see what people have ideas of. So, yeah, I saw Lawrence. I saw your hand go up first. So let's hear you give it a shot. There's not a nearby mic, but.
A lifestyle brand is a set of models, text or images, for how to look and behave in a way that is cool or something else high status that you aspire to, plus selling you things to help you fit those models.
Nice. Who else is out here? Let's look. Annabelle, right? B. My bad.
I have a lifestyle brand is a brand that gets its power not by how its products function, but by what they mean culturally.
Mm. What's up? Hey, what's your name? Yeah. Okay, cool, Dag. Yeah, let's hear what you got. Sorry, these mics are so far away. I feel like they should be roving.
Lifestyle brand, a brand fitting to one's choice of activity or daily needs.
Say that again? It's choice of activity.
A brand fitting to one's choice of activity or daily needs.
Just writing these down. These are some good responses. So, yeah, we're hearing that a lifestyle brand is definitely something more than products. It has to do with like what its products mean, or it's not only products but also codes for how to look and behave, and it has to do with more than just products, but like activities that people are doing, what choices they're making in their life. So I wonder what that says a lifestyle actually is. Now, it may be useful at this point to have a case study from a real live lifestyle brand. So I'm just going to pop over to Instagram right here. And show you, hey, how am I going to log into this without showing everything? I don't think I have to do that actually, so I just won't. Well, okay, so there's this thing that has this kind of popular style of writing that I'm calling brand Gonzo journalism, in which like a publication will provide its writers with a budget, and they'll go out and try to be like the perfect consumer of a given lifestyle brand. And Gia Tolentino has done a really good example of this for Outdoor Voices. And in the next exercise, I'm going to ask you to define a lifestyle. And I thought it might be helpful to have some material. So I went ahead and I made a little website with my favorite selections from this piece. So if you want assistance in defining a lifestyle, which is the exercise we're about to start immediately, I would recommend scanning this QR code and going to the selections. And I have the Instagram link there as well. If you don't want to do that, then feel free to just go to the next page or like the next piece of paper in your little pamphlet and try to write down what exactly is a lifestyle. You got 5 minutes to do this. What's that? That's it. That's the question. That's the link. Oh, this one's not right. Sorry, you want that one. Oh. We have a few more minutes left. How are people doing? One more time to write down your definitions of lifestyle. This time I'm just going to call on whoever I want, so better be ready. How we doing? All right, 30 more seconds. I'm getting tired of this. Perfect. All right, let's go. So let's find out. Mr. Beiser, do you have an answer to this question?
So a lifestyle is a set of values, rituals, and behaviors that form a planned or coherent experience of a reality.
Sarah, do you have one?
Yeah, very close to Pfizer. It's a curated set of possibilities. The possibilities are for activity, self-presentation, and feeling, unified by a worldview.
That's elegant. Darren, I want to hear yours too.
A lifestyle is an idealized mode of existing, viewing, and interacting with the world. A lifestyle interprets the world. It constructs and defines, 1, the lifestyle participant, and 2, the world in which the participant lives.
Let's see, who else wants to give it a shot? Does anybody have a definition that doesn't sound like anything that's been said so far, out of curiosity? Mr. Gunn?
I have that a lifestyle is an idiomatic expression of the personality that is deliberately chosen and carefully maintained.
Yeah.
I wrote that a lifestyle is when either you or other people categorize what someone is doing with their time or money. Because I don't think that people always deliberately choose a lifestyle either. Like, I don't know. They're like, oh, other people say that I'm like this blah 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 type of millennial. I don't know. I just, yeah.
That's really
I didn't
key.
choose it.
Thanks. Hey, what's your name? Shannon?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Okay, so Yeah, I like that definition because it gets at the idea that, yeah, people can categorize other people. There's clearly a network of ideas here, like a curated set of possibilities. It's a group thing somehow that covers a lot of people. Its value may lie in its ability to be participated in, or as Darren said, it constructs and defines the lifestyle participant. Yeah, a curated set of possibilities for activity, self-presentation, and feeling unified by a worldview. That's a pretty broad definition. I wonder if how that relates to a religion or an ideology, or a cult. And what does this mean about the relationship between brands and lifestyles? Is every lifestyle a brand, or is every brand a lifestyle, or does every lifestyle include brands? And now we're going to have, this is going to be open discussion, the rules of which are, people can, please limit your provocation, question, response to 20 seconds, and the next person should respond to that person. No back and forth, so each person only speaks once, and I may only interject a little. So, Jordan, I saw your hand back there. Maybe you want to kick it off. Yeah, all right. This is going to be annoying.
Well, people can get in line, I guess. But the two things that I wanted to add to the definitions to also kick this off is a lifestyle does not necessarily have to be coherent or have an associated concept, which also makes it distinct from an ideology.
Yeah, I would add in the keywords habits and subcultures. And that, to a large extent, we've had a death of subcultures over the last 20 years, and lifestyle is often used where that word would have been used in the past. A subculture
yeah, somebody else has to answer that question.
Had more of a tightly defined, there was like...
yeah, all right, Andrew, I'm cutting you off. Somebody else is going to answer the question.
A shorter listable list of subcultures, right? But as a sort of Cambrian explosion happened,
so we really
then we have lifestyle.
I see we have a disagreement. We've heard people on both sides of the question of whether or not a lifestyle is something you choose intentionally. And we've also seen it compared to an ideology. We can ask whether or not an ideology is something we choose intentionally.
Provocative. Anybody want to respond to that? Yeah.
I think you can, the degree to which you identify with or don't identify with or integrate the identification with in ideology, religion, a cult, whatever, is how I would define the lifestyle piece of it. So you could be like Catholic and it could be your lifestyle, or you could be Catholic and it could be like well in the background like 99.9% of your time. And I think that is true about whether you choose it or it chooses you. It's like, do you integrate it into your orientation to the world?
Other Toby?
Yeah, hey, my name's also Toby. I guess one kind of thread here and something that I play with is an ideology is only really real to the extent that it affects one's behavior and lifestyle. So the two are very much related.
Yeah, just on the first question of if every brand is a lifestyle, I think it's similar to what you just said. Can't read your name tag. Dave just said about self-selection or other things selecting you. So a lifestyle brand would view itself as part of a lifestyle or a set of values or activities, whereas some brands, like some random thing like 3M sticky tape, may not be a lifestyle brand, but because it doesn't choose to view itself that way, but you can still make that part of a lifestyle by selecting it. So there's like selection in two directions.
Very key point, John. Nice. Venkat, are you in line? I think you should be. Yeah, maybe you can come in and comment as our benevolent dictator.
So I think that if a lifestyle is like an aesthetic void that you're trying to project yourself into, maybe an ideology is like the kind of like logical justification for that.
been on this mediocrity kick. I kind of come at this from like an energy perspective, so I would say a lifestyle is a pattern of laziness, and everything else is a rationalization after the fact.
That's awesome.
I think that one thing that we haven't really said by name, but it's true, or I would say it's true, is that brands involve commerce, and not every lifestyle might involve commerce. So I think a relationship with commerce structures also a lifestyle brand.
I think that's interesting. I was going to say something totally differently, but there's definitely an element, I think, this is the transactional nature of like a lifestyle, and that you can transact in friendships or in sex, or really leverage your lifestyle to bring wealth into your world. So probably argue another way.
Yeah, Chanel?
I think it's another thing which maybe deserves more attention is that a number of these comments seem to talk about lifestyle in terms of an individual choice, but we also need to think about it as like a collective phenomenon where the lifestyles of millions of individuals change in like specific identical ways as certain trends go in and out of fashion, as we see with politics, for instance.
Okay, I'm only going to let 2 more comments happen. The discussion is really heating up, but we got to move on.
I want to go back to brands.
Yeah.
I think that brands are really interesting because they commodify lifestyles.
Okay, cool. What does that mean? Say more about that.
It's like a specialization of life, and so brands are, you can purchase them and you don't have to put the work in to actually live the lifestyle because the brand does it for you. You just have to buy it.
That's an interesting idea. Ooh, snaps for that one. Yeah, one more.
Mine's actually kind of similar to that. I feel like a lifestyle may or may not be like an intentional or unintentional way of living, whereas like a brand is like a story, and it like Loctite, like that's a story, like we lock threads tightly or something. But like a lifestyle brand is trying to sell a lifestyle as a story. Like you can be this person if you pay us some money, and like, the power of the lifestyle brand is like how many people buy into that story.
Interesting. Okay. The power of a lifestyle brand is how many people buy into that story. So scale, it seems to be important as well. All right. Okay. So we gotta move on to the next topic, but it's related to that last comment. Now you've heard of the horseshoe theory of politics, but have you heard of the horseshoe theory of brands? So on the left we've got brand, or something whose most salient quality is its commerciality. And then on the right, we've got religion, or something whose most salient quality is its perhaps sacredness or elements of worship. And on the top, you've got meaningful, not that meaningful, on the bottom, highly meaningful. We don't normally think of horseshoe as related to a 2x2, but it's worth noting that like the original like horseshoe theory thing has a 2x2 present in it as well. As long as we stay on the, ooh, that's not supposed to be there. What? I'm just gonna leave it there. Pretend you didn't see this. I'm not gonna leave it there. All right, so, yeah, what I wanna do next is take the time to actually go ahead and plot some points on here based on some of these ideas of lifestyles that we've been coming up with. So, go to the next fold in your paper, draw your little horseshoe, and maybe you want to talk to somebody next to you for 2 minutes and just start hashing it out. Like, what are some lifestyles? And be prepared to come back to this quick, because we're going to come back and do this exercise together. I don't want to have to yell at everybody. But yeah, go. Talk to the person next to you. Start figuring it out. Where would you plot brands, religions, entities, egregores, whatever, onto this chart? Go for it. And talk to somebody. All right, all right, all right. Come on back. Come on back now. We're gonna keep going. So like, yeah, just come back to me. Bring your attention back to me. All right, so I think it would be cool to just like start throwing some of these up onto this screen. So I'm just gonna call on random people and like we're gonna add some onto here. Yeah, so if I call on you, shout out just like top left, top right, and whatever it is. Hey, I don't know you, Mike. Yeah, do you have one? Nike. Okay, where is it? Bottom left? Nike. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. What else? What else? Hey. Real country. Yeah. What is that? Tell me more. Gotcha. Real country. Real country folk. Not that Lil Nas X guy. Whoa now. Who else? Nolan.
We got really hung up on meaningful, not meaningful, because it immediately became apparent it was meaningful to some people and not meaningful to others. So like CrossFit, as an example, we
Okay.
put it because we were like, I don't go to CrossFit.
Well, what about for CrossFit devotees? Where would you put it for them?
Well, meaningful.
Okay.
No. Bottom right, they said.
Bottom right. Why not bottom left out of curiosity?
For me?
Yeah.
Because of the community, and because also if you're not a devotee, you actually have the top right. They're kind of
Interesting. That's a question. I think we should leave this one open. Okay, cool. Maybe it belongs on the center line then. What's up, John?
Verizon, not that meaningful brand.
Verizon, incredible. Yeah. I might be tempted to move it slightly closer to meaningful because I love to hate it. Yeah. What's up, Ryan? Well, not that meaningful. What? Where? Interesting. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's drop it. Let's drop it in here. All right. Somebody random yell something. Where? Yeah. What quadrant? Bottom middle. Apple. Okay. Would Donald Trump? Okay. Where does he go? Donald Trump. Yeah, definitely. What about Trumpism? What about like MAGA? Okay, a difference between like a brand and something else here. Okay. Yeah, ism. Maybe that makes it an ideology. I don't know. Hey. Well, definitely willingness to kill people might be one. Thank Kat. That's awesome. Thank you for putting. Yes, that's great. That's great. Yes. Ribbon Farm. I don't know. Depends on how into mediocrity you are, I guess. All right, but yeah, I think what is salient about this is like some of these things are like clearly in lifestyle territory. I'm just gonna pop that one over here. Like it's definitely Marvel Cinematic Universe like is clearly not a lifestyle. Like going to movies being a cinephile might be a lifestyle, but Walmart is not a lifestyle, MCU is not a lifestyle, Verizon's not a lifestyle. You think Walmart is a lifestyle? Oh, Costco is even more of a lifestyle, but hey, what's really the difference between Costco and Walmart? Just different demographics, right? So maybe let's move those down. Whole Foods, all right, yeah, that's another one. So if everything in this is like starting to feel like lifestyle territory, even if we're not 100% sure about what it is, like this actually covers quite a lot of different, types of entity. So I'm starting to feel like we need a little bit different word than lifestyle, which is starting to feel inadequate. So I'd like to call that a system of meaning. I think that's a useful word because regardless of like the category that we're dealing with, whether it's like, yeah, a brand around which there's like some adherence, like some sort of function in like a Costco that like structures your life in a not insignificant way, or an idea like Trumpism. There's something here that gets at a lot of the definitions that you all generated earlier, like a curated set of possibilities for an activity, an aesthetic void that you see yourself filling. Clearly aesthetics is part of this. A pattern of laziness you can fall into. Like some things involve commerce here, but not all of them. So if you were trying to invest in a system of meaning, how would you go about doing your due diligence? How would you determine whether a system of meaning is valuable or not? Actually, we've already encountered, maybe it would be helpful to find some of the formal elements of a system of meaning. And we've already encountered some of them with outdoor voices. If you looked at those, maybe you'll have some ideas of like what a formal element of a system of meaning is. You have some, does anybody have a thought? Somebody who hasn't spoken before? What do you need to make a system of meaning? A lot of these ideas have been shared already when we were trying to define lifestyles. Yeah? A theory of what is best. What else?
A mission statement?
A mission statement. That seems related to like the what is best idea. Yeah. People. Very necessary to have a system of meaning. You gotta have somebody to believe in it, right? Yeah. Yes?
A uniform seems to be important.
A uniform, yeah. So these days it's very popular to talk about like aesthetics and symbols. People really think that you can just start making symbols and throw a little cult together anytime, but that's not true. You actually need 7 elements. There's 7 fundamental elements of a system of meaning: actors, discourses, narratives, practices, aesthetics, knowledge, and artifacts. Now, you might disagree with me on whether there's 7 or 6. Like maybe you want to put narratives and discourse into one and call it language or something like that. Or maybe you want to add another one to this. It doesn't really matter. For our purposes here, we're basically just trying to taxonomize everything that comprises a culture. Culture is another way you can think about a system of meaning. And each of these elements of a system of meaning reinforce one another, and I think you'll start to see that as we do the next exercise, in which I'm going to divide this room into 6 groups, and your job is to brainstorm how these elements, I'm going to keep this screen on that, are expressed in one of these systems of meaning. These are categories, but you can draw from as many examples as you like. So each part, there's actually 4 groups here. Yeah, just kind of get together. So like front here, you'll be brands. Yeah, front here, brands, cults, religions, brands, cults, religions. So that's very odd grouping, but like front, center, right, and left, like go kind of like coagulate in that area, and your job is to now write these, well, you don't have to write these down, but like, your job is to talk about how each of these elements is expressed in either a cult, if you're assigned cult, brand, if you're assigned brand, and religion, if you're assigned that. So talk as a group together. I'm sure you'll come up with many examples, but remember we're working at the category level here. So yeah, go speak to one another. No. Yeah, just turn your chairs around and talk to whoever's close to you. As long as you agree on what you're categorizing, then like it's fine. All right, 30 more seconds. All right. Ooh. All right, let's come back to center. I'm really excited to find out what y'all have come up with here. Hey, Britt, is it feeding back? Great. All right, so I got the cultists in front of me. Yeah, so for those who thought about cults, I'm curious, yeah, what you came up with in terms of, yeah, take me through like one of these elements and what you discovered.
For the actors, not only the guru and the followers, but also the outgroup and ex-cult members.
Yeah, outgroup, like having a common enemy, you know, or like people who are trying to like subject you to something that is a pretty important one. Yeah. Suppressive persons. That's good. A cult. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. What else? What else you got?
So one thing we talked about in terms of practices and artifacts and things like that is that in a cult, a lot of that is about signaling, and that signaling is extremely costly. So a brand, in order to signal for a brand, it's really just currency that you're working with. In a cult, it's vertical data of this stuff in a way. So the more costly it is to signal your membership in a cult for practice artifacts, the more likely it is for the cult.
Sorry, what was that last thing?
The more costly it is to signal membership, the more likely it is that you're in a cult.
The more costly to signal membership, the more likely you're in a cult. That's really interesting. I haven't even thought of that one. But yeah, cults do. In fact, like, I won't even go there. Go ahead. Yeah. Yes, you. A barrier to entry, requirement to profess your beliefs. So, yeah, maybe that also falls under practices. Is yeah, like you need to have. There needs to be some sort of behavior around professing your beliefs. Yeah. What about? You're not cults over there, are you? We are cults too. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Sure. Go for it. What was that? Redefinition of words. Yeah, so that may fall under discourses, right? Yeah, words mean very specific things. Or, yeah, Robert Lifton, the author of a book about like psychological totalism and totalitarian governments, talks about the mystical language of cults, like how words mean to come very specific things. What else? Let's hear from a different thing about religions, perhaps. Who did religions?
Religions are old.
Religions are old.
They predate, right? And so the stories have had mimetic evolution that other stories don't get.
I'm not sure how to categorize this, but that's true. Yeah. Who else? Who else did religions?
We have religions back here.
Yeah. Share some findings.
So I'll just read a couple of things from the different categories. So for discourse, we had varied things like confession, the Talmud, bumper stickers. Narratives, we had like predestination, salvation, or transubstantiation. And around knowledge, we had the ideas of right versus wrong and knowledge as a form of gatekeeping.
Yeah, knowledge of right and wrong is really interesting. Maybe another one to add to that is like knowledge of the divine. It is like something that's definitely a sacred knowledge that's like special to cults or religions. Knowledge is gatekeeping. It's interesting. The discourse has like a gatekeeping function even by itself, or like Foucault would say the discourses like produce their subjects, which is kind of getting to what you and Darren was saying earlier, Sarah. Yeah, what about brands? How are brands different or similar to this? Who's talking about brands in here? Y'all were. Yes, say something.
Some of the actors in the brand that we identified were like corporate level people who were making decisions, hiring agencies, down that line, into users and consumers, and then into the supply chain. The supply chain was really important for providing these products for the brands.
Yeah, so, and things in the supply chain like might fall under artifacts. Like, artifacts are also like used in practices, or like they're sold to people. Yeah, when I was walking around, I saw you had like all these levels of middle management under actors. I feel like that's an important point too, is roles. Roles are not necessarily people. They're sort of like fungible, like functionaries that are part of like actors. You know, all the way up to like the God concept, like maybe considered an actor in a religion because it has agency. What else? I want to hear from Tiago. What do y'all come up with over there, Tiago?
We were a religion. We did religion.
Yeah.
We're trying to explore the boundary between cults and religions. Why it seems very clear in our mind, but if you come up with any boundary, as soon as you get into it, there's really no difference. They seem very arbitrary, despite being very seemingly clear.
Yeah, what's one of those distinctions, or maybe not?
One of them was the kind of the fancifulness of stories. Like we'll read about a recent cult, what we consider a cult, and it seems completely ridiculous, but then you go back to religions and the stories are just as strange. Toby pointed out that could not be the case because those stories, because of the mimetic evolution, perhaps have some moral or ethical value just from being old. That could be why we put more stock in old stories. But then we just thought, well, maybe the stories about Joseph Smith in a few hundred or thousand years will have just as much moral and ethical meaning. We really don't know.
Yeah. I saw one more hand back there. Yeah. Hey. That's a nice idea. Cults have a living leader, whereas religions have ossified. And like, yeah, many of the things that like a living leader may say in their lifetime then become sort of like reified and turned into knowledge or beliefs of some sort, like certain sacred practices or rituals. What would Jesus do? Like, is kind of a really all-encompassing example of this. So we're running out of time, and honestly, you can wait. I want to hear from Anastasia.
I was thinking about the narrative part for brands, and the brands usually focus on the genesis of a product rather than the genesis of the universe or a people, which is what cults and religions tend to do. And maybe the product itself could feed into the story of a religion or as an artifact.
Yeah. What effect do you think that has, like that the origin story of a product, like it's that brands deal with the origin story of a product rather than the origin story of a cosmology?
The product becomes the cosmology.
I was gonna say that it probably makes, it probably like limits the scope of like that, how heavily it can be invested with meaning, but like that's maybe an option too. Lot Universe, shout out. All right, so Yeah, I think it's time to take some of these learnings and think about what our takeaways are as prospective investors in cults and religions. First, meaning is liquid, but not all meanings are created equal. As we just discussed, people will seek meaning wherever they can find it, but brands, cults, and religions clearly have some differences in how much meaning can be invested in their elements. Some elements are really strong, like cults require way more of a costly signal to, perhaps even self-punishment or physical harm in order to signify membership, whereas brands typically only require a financial cost. Another takeaway is that if you want to invest in or build a cult, make sure it has all of these elements. They're not really optional. Although we can see that each of these elements in some way are present in every system of meaning and in every cult system. If you want to substitute cult for a system of meaning, they're sometimes more present, sometimes less present, or more heavily expressed, less heavily expressed. As we saw in back on this screen, Verizon obviously has behaviors associated with it. There are people who do things, but there are practices. There are there's a discourse, there's knowledge, there's artifacts. It has all of these elements, but does it ultimately add up to create something that's highly compelling to people? Not really. How would you go about investing in a cult? How would you actually do that yourself? Well, one way would be to sell picks and shovels to people who are actually seeking to build out these meaningful elements, like these 7 elements. Can you think of, I'm just gonna call on somebody random. What's one example of a pick, a shovel for somebody who's building out discourses, for example? John.
Software or some kind of product that enables their community members to find each other and have that discourse, a place for the discourse to happen.
That's a great example. I've called on you a lot, so I'm going to call on somebody else. Hey.
You could create a numerology generator.
Yeah. And what would that fall under? Or how would that be related to? Yeah.
It enables language itself by creating potentially mysticism or something around that.
Yeah, absolutely. So for people, one way would be to create tooling that is ultimately going to be used by people who want to create systems of meaning, regardless of what they are. That's a kind of agnostic approach. A second approach to investing would actually be to sell products that tie into community discourses, narratives, practices, etc. Each system of meaning may have these different tiers of actors, right? And one opportunity would be to position products at price points that allow people to signal higher levels of membership, or products. Maybe it's a great business to fabricate crucifixes and sell them to Christians. And a last takeaway is to be wary of bubbles. I think I'll just put these up now. Can anybody think about what a bubble in a system of meaning might be? Given that we've clearly discussed that some systems of meaning are more and some are less meaningful, how would a bubble occur? Aaron. Yeah, that's a great example of a bubble. So for the live stream and people who didn't hear, the Emperor's New Clothes is a bubble story where people pretend to believe in something that they're actually not that invested in as individuals. And I think that gets to the crux of the problem. Sometimes you can have one of these elements, like a discourse, a piece of language, a meme, a behavior, an object, an artifact, that is memetically viable, and it flies off and expands way beyond the scope of the actual individual community, but those people don't have very strong identifications or attachments to it. You know, somebody said earlier that the level to which you identify with with like a lifestyle is important to qualifying it as such, and that's absolutely true here when we're talking about systems of meaning. The level to which you identify with it is the level of meaning that it has. So when something explodes out of the scope of like this community, this system of meaning, it becomes subject to significant price volatility. Investment, I have one more slide, investment takeaway 3, and that is, if you want to hear more, all you have to do is just you know, wire me $10,000. That's 90% off our regular price of $100,000 for our Value Investing in Cults and Religions book here at the Symbolic Exchange Commission. Thank you very much. That's the end of this talk. Yeah, that's really the end too. I'm pretty sure we don't have time for questions, so.
Cool, thanks Toby.